What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 4 of Monologue with Mason podcast. I just want to go ahead and get started with this podcast with a couple of updates. So, last week, at least I believe it was last week, I had this exciting opportunity to be able to start selling some of my Mason's Fitness shirts. And I just want to thank everyone who has purchased those shirts, and there will be a link in the description if you still want to purchase them. They are still obviously available for you. I also am super excited that in the next couple of weeks, I will probably be able to release 2 more shirts. They're a little bit more general shirts. The goal is to have one be a Christian workout shirt. Right now I have 2 designs going, and there's actually a poll on my Instagram, although probably by the time this podcast is out, that poll will be finished. But people are voting on which one of those I should release first. And then I will be doing 2 kind of more general fitness shirts as well, and figuring out which one of those will be in production and I will start selling. So 2 new shirts in a couple of weeks, and I'm super excited for those to be out there for people to start buying. Let's get right into some questions and topics. The first question and topic I want to talk about is the benefit of writing and public speaking. I think this is something that people do less and less in our society, and people don't think is super important, which is odd because, at least the public speaking aspect of things, people are out public speaking a lot more frequently with social media. What I mean by public speaking is actually writing and articulating what you are speaking, and making it more well-known and articulated and logical, and working through that aspect of it. And the writing aspect, same thing. People are on social media writing, technically, all of the time, but that's not the writing I'm referring to. I'm referring to the logical, write down a complex idea, really articulate something well, and that is the first benefit I want to talk about, is that it requires you to be able to articulate an idea clearly. And that is something that is being lost so much in our society, is the inability to truly articulate something well. It's almost as if people are just kind of throwing up whatever they're thinking when they're writing or talking on social media or in person to people, instead of taking the time to really think through, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it? What points am I going to put in? What points I'm going to hold back? What points am I going to really emphasize? And what is the best vocabulary to use? And what is the best structure? Thinking through all of these aspects of writing and public speaking require you to be able to articulate this idea clearly. And this kind of leads into the second benefit, is it helps you communicate better, which is kind of a no-brainer. But if you can get in front of a bunch of people and do public speaking, or get online and articulate a concept well, or sit down at your computer and write a chapter of a book, or write a blog post, or whatever you're writing, even if it's just for yourself, and you can articulate it well, chances are that you will be able to articulate that well when you are in person with someone else, when you're just having a normal conversation. You'll be able to articulate everything that you are saying much, much clearer, which will help your communication. And as human beings, communication is so important to the people around us, and so important in our society, is so important in our job. I don't really care what job you have, some degree of communication is important, and some degree of communication will help you improve and get better. And also, as Christians, obviously communication is important. If we cannot share the gospel effectively and clearly and articulate that well, then we could be either a stumbling block, we could be less effective. And can God use people who cannot articulate the gospel well? Yes, absolutely. And I'm not saying that. And that should not stop you from sharing your faith. However, that should also not give you an excuse to avoid learning how to talk, to avoid learning how to write and public speak, so that you can practice the skill of being able to articulate concepts better. That is not an excuse. So absolutely, God can use you even if your communication is not great, even if you don't know how to communicate well. But that does not mean you should not strive to better public speaking, to better writing, to better articulation. And the last thing and last benefit I really see in writing and learning how to write and learning how to speak in public and articulate your ideas verbally is confidence. And I think this is confidence in two ways. One, other people, as you practice and you portray confidence as you speak and as you write, people will see that. As you practice those things, you will become more confident because you do it more frequently, and people will sense that. And so when someone is confident, or at least appears to be confident, they take their ideas more, right? If you have one person who is up in front of people, say, giving a speech, and you have one person who's speaking, who's very confident in what they are saying. They say a full sentence and they don't stumble over their words. They say it with confidence. You know what that sounds like, right? And then you have another person who is stumbling over their words. They're saying, yes, so this I think is how that works, and this is going over here, and I believe this is this and this is that, right? Which one is going to sound more confident? Which one are you going to then listen to? Right? You're going to listen to the confident one. You're going to listen to the one that is portraying confidence, even if what they are saying is maybe not accurate, maybe not correct, and maybe the person who isn't confident, maybe they do understand it better. They're just not articulating it well. They're not portraying confidence, right? But the more you write and the more you work on public speaking, the better your confidence will get in communication, and therefore your communication will also be more effective to the people around you. So those are some of the benefits of writing and public speaking and really learning those skills. The next concept and question, I guess, that I want to talk through is don't put yourself in a box. And this is something I see people do so often now. They let labels define them and put them in a box, and they can't break free of this. And I totally understand that humans have some limitations, and some humans and some people have more limitations or different limitations than other people. I totally get that. However, in the same breath, I also see so many people who use those excuses, who use those labels, who use that box they have been put in as a reason not to do something. Like I said, they use it as an excuse. Let's say, for example, someone was diagnosed with ADHD. Now, that is obviously a real thing. That obviously has some areas and that person has some characteristics that may cause them to struggle with things like sitting down and focusing on one task, right? No doubt about it. But too often I see people using this as an excuse. Well, I'm not going to do well in this college class because I have to sit in this class for this period of time and I just can't sit and focus. So how in the world am I going to do well in this class? And they kind of accept that. They just kind of accept barely passing or not even passing this class because they have ADHD. Well, that's not an excuse. Stop putting yourself in that box. Find ways to overcome that weakness, that struggle. Say, okay, I can't sit in this class and focus well. So how can I focus well? Okay, well, maybe taking notes helps. Maybe, okay, I'm an artist. Maybe if I doodle, right, on a piece of paper, I can write that down and that can help me with my distractions, right? Maybe taking notes, maybe doing all of these things. Maybe is there something I can fidget with my hand? It's not going to be a distraction to someone else, but if I can fidget with something, right, maybe that will help me. Or maybe none of those things are working, and no matter what you try, you can't learn in class. Well, that doesn't mean you can't learn outside of class. Is it going to require extra work? Yes, maybe, but don't let that extra work be an excuse. Yes, that is something that you may struggle with, but push past it. Don't put yourself in that box. Another one I see too often is people thinking they're too young, right? Well, I can't start a business. Well, I can't learn these skills yet. I can't talk in front of people. Going back to that public speaking, I can't talk in front of people. I'm 14. Why not? Why can't you start developing those skills? Why can't you start speaking and practicing those things? Because you know what? Even if no one listens to you, you're practicing those skills. And 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, whatever amount of time goes by, you're going to start using those skills. And even if one person listened to what you had to say, either verbally or written, maybe no one did, maybe 5 people did, it doesn't matter. If 10 years from now you're in an interview and using those skills you can articulate things well, that was a benefit, right? But if you sat there when you were 14, did not write, did not practice public speaking, even though you wanted to, that is going to be a detriment to you later on in your career, right? And I can go on and on. Fitness is another one. People think, well, I'm not quite ready for that. I haven't lost enough weight, or I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not a fitness person. And they keep themselves in that box. They don't push out of it. No, push out of your comfort zone. Pushing out of your comfort zone and pushing through barriers is the only way for you to actually get better. Don't let these things control you. Don't let what people say about you. Don't let diagnoses. Don't let any of these struggles that you have stop you from pushing forward and trying to get better. Because I promise you, you will feel so much more successful, and you will be more successful, and you will feel so much better. You would do so much better if you push out of your comfort zone and keep pushing forward to try to be the best person you can be, and try to be the best at skills, trying to be the best at all of these different aspects of your life. So don't put yourself in the box. Don't let your labels become excuses for not doing anything. There's always all of these boxes, all of these labels can be overcome, at least at some degree, by putting in work, by trying different techniques, by maybe being a little unorthodox in the way you go about things. But there is a way to go around these labels and not make them excuses. And the last kind of topic that I want to talk about is do not wait for the new year to set goals. This is something that we do all of the time. Oh, I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, well, let's wait till January to start a diet. Right? Or maybe it isn't even the new year. Maybe it's, well, I want to lose weight, but I'm in a busy season of life right now. So I'm not going to set that as a goal. It's just going to sit off to the side. No. Don't wait. Set that goal and do it, right? Pushing off your goals, the only thing that is going to do is it's going to keep you right where you are at. It's going to keep you stagnant the entire or the rest of your life, right? If you never set goals because it's never the perfect time, and I promise you, there is a good chance there will never be a perfect time. There will never be a perfect time because you will always find a reason not to do something. You always will. Your mind doesn't want to do hard things. That's why they are hard. Your mind doesn't want to set goals because it requires effort to get to those goals. It requires hard work. It requires doing things that are difficult and unpleasant, maybe even painful and sacrificial to get that goal. You don't want to do that. Your mind doesn't want to do that. So it's going to find as many reasons why you shouldn't. So there will never be a perfect time to set a goal and start accomplishing it, which is why if you want to set a goal, just set the goal and start a plan. Start figuring out how you're going to accomplish it and go for it. Push through. Do it. Right? And basically, the been kind of touching on this a little bit throughout the whole podcast, but as people in general, you should be always pushing to be better than you are right now. You should never let yourself just stay the same. Even if it's small improvements, right? Even if it's, well, I got a little bit stronger in the gym. Well, I made a little bit more money because I made an extra sale. Oh, I talked to a client a little bit more clearly, right? I stayed in the ice bath a little bit longer. I lost half a pound. It doesn't matter what it is, right? It doesn't matter how small the change is, but every day you should be pushing to get better and better and better, no matter what is going on. Are you going to get to the end of the day and are you going to make huge life-altering changes where you're a completely new person going into the next day? Yeah, that happens every once in a while, but that's not the reality. The reality is you made a little change. You're going to make a little change tomorrow. You're going to make a little change the day after that. That's going to go on. If it goes on for a year, you have made so many little changes that you don't recognize yourself at the end of the year. That is the goal. It's the analogy of how do you climb Mount Everest? In the same way you climb a little hill, one step at a time, right? You don't climb Mount Everest in some fancy way and doing it in one move. No. One foot, then the next foot, then the next foot, then the next foot. And by never stopping and always pushing forward, you will constantly get better. It's also a good analogy because it doesn't just require you to go forward. There is some planning in it. There is some wisdom in how to go about climbing it. Yes, absolutely. But you're never going to climb Mount Everest. No matter how hard you plan, I can plan that trip. I can get all prepared. I can get all trained up. I can pack perfectly. I can have everything I need. I can have a guide. And if I get to the bottom of Mount Everest and I take one step and I stop, none of that preparation, none of that planning mattered. You know what matters? If I take a step, take another step, take another step, figure it out as I go. Keep going, keep going, keep going, never failing, and eventually you will get up to the top. So that is what I'm going to challenge you. Keep pushing forward no matter what is going on in your life. Always set goals, no matter if it's the perfect time or it's the worst time. Set those goals, push yourself forward, try to get better. Well, that is it for episode 4 of Monologue with Mason. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Hope that was helpful for you. I do want to say, please check out my YouTube, my Instagram, my website. I try to post on my Instagram multiple times a week, and I try to post on YouTube. Well, I post YouTube shorts throughout the week, but I post one big YouTube video a week. And then also check out my website. I have some free workouts on there. I also have an option for you to get a personalized program. So there's a place where you can email me and talk about what you are looking for, and I can write a custom workout for you. And all of those will be linked in the description. My YouTube channel, my Instagram handle, and my website, so that you can follow all of those to get there. It will also be a link to the shirts. So like I said at the beginning, if you have not purchased a Mason's Fitness shirt, and that is something that you would like to do, there will be a link to take you to buy one of those shirts. And keep an eye out for the 2 new shirts that I will be producing in the next couple of weeks. So I will do one more generic fitness shirt and one Christian shirt. So hopefully you guys like those designs and like those shirts. I do appreciate you guys listening to the podcast, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, or had a great day, and always are pushing forward, trying to get better, all of those kind of things. And we will see you on the next one.